Welcome to the Domain Name Wire podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Alleman, and this is episode number 541. My guest on today's show is Munir Badr. Munir is the host of the Domain Days Conference, which is getting ready to host its third edition in Dubai this October. On today's show, Munir talks about how he got into domain names. He also discusses which domains are popular in the Middle East, including a country code domain that really has nothing to do with the Middle East. Munir also talks about why he started a conference and what attendees can expect at this year's show. We'll chat with Munir in just a few minutes, but first, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor this week is Sav.com and its domain name auctions. Sav auctions are a great way to liquidate your domain names. I've sold a few domains through Sav auctions. It was quick and easy, and there was a great transfer process. In fact, if your domains are already registered at Sav, they transfer instantly when you sell them. Sellers pay just a 4% fee on all of their sales. Learn more and start selling your domains through Sav auctions at sav.com/DNW/sell. That's sav.com/DNW/sell. I also want to give a shout out to another one of Domain Name Wire sponsors. .link is getting ready to release new premium domain names in July. Look for the big background ad on Domain Name Wire to learn more. Just click the link there. Let's talk about some news in the domain business before we talk to Munir. First up, Namecheap is now showing domains listed for sale on the Spaceship SellerHub in its search path. That's a big deal because Namecheap is the second largest registrar and gets lots of domain searches every month. Namecheap CEO Richard Kirkendall said that eventually he will be removing Cedo and Afternic listings from Namecheap, meaning the only way to get on the second largest registrar will be through SellerHub. I wrote a quick recap of listing domains on SellerHub last week, so look for that article. If you have backorder credits at GoDaddy, the company is giving another 60 days to use them. GoDaddy stopped doing true backorders for deleting domains, and it announced last year that it was sunsetting the product and people would have 1 year to use their backorder credits. Now they'll get until October 7th. That's another 2 months. The credits can be used to bid on expired domain auctions, but don't work on closeout domains. ICANN accredited domain registrar OpenProvider exposed 164 gigabits of data in an unprotected Elasticsearch instance this year, it has emerged. Security Discovery, that's a cybersecurity research firm, and Cyber News reported that the data included domain transfer codes and registrant information. The data was open for about 3 months until early April when the researchers informed OpenProvider about it. OpenProvider didn't inform its customers until Cyber News wrote an article about it on June 20th. The registrar said that it's confident that no one accessed the data. And another researcher took Public Interest Registry to task for letting gambling domains into its .ngo and .ong namespaces. Those top-level domains are only to be used by non-governmental organizations. PIR previously required registrants to verify eligibility before using the domains, but switched to a post-verification model in 2020. It appears that as much as 5% of the zones are names connected to gambling. PIR told Domain Name Wire that it runs audits and will run a special audit to detect these domains and clean up the space. All right, more news at domainnamewire.com, but now let's chat with Munir. My guest this week is Munir Badr. He is the founder of Domain Days conference in Dubai. Munir, welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrew. Thank you. And I'm glad to be here today.
So first of all, talk to me a little bit about your background in domain names.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very interesting story. So let me start with the fact that this year we are 20 years in business, in the domain name business. That's my main line of business. I run a company, a domain name registrar based out of Dubai called aeserver.com. So I've been doing this for 20 years exactly. And I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I ended up in the domain name industry purely out of curiosity. I started as a reseller of the local domain names in the United Arab Emirates. So the local domain name, or the CCTLD, is AE. And back in the days, I used to have a fax machine to basically send an application form for the domain name registration to the registry. And the whole business idea was that I digitized the process of basically manual paperwork, filling up papers, going through the technical jargon to register a domain name, to having it digitally on the website like we are used to doing today. And again, I never had a business plan. I never had an idea that this will turn into a real business. I was a student in school and later in university, but I just started this as a home business. And, I was curious about the technology, about HTML, browsers. If you remember all these free hosting providers, like offering you a subdomain hosting. So I was curious, how do I do this on my own? And my first clients were my teachers in school, and later everyone knew me as the go-to IT person. So this is really how I ended up in this industry. And ever since, so 20 years, I've been building this brand for the Middle East.
Right. I think for some people listening, especially if they're newer to the industry, some of these country code domains, they do have weird requirements. In fact, I think some are still I know a registrar recently started offering domains from .iq domains from Iraq. Like there's a manual process involved in that. And basically your goal then early on was, hey, how can I automate this manual process?
Yeah, exactly. If I dive deeper into the story, I didn't know myself how to register the local domain name back in the days. I know this sounds crazy, but I built a website. I had the Whois lookup form, and people would literally, look up for the domain name. I understood that there should be a Whois server querying the registry. Obviously, I found the registry's Whois server, and there was a shopping cart, a very simple shopping cart, which I bought off like a template monster or one of these websites. I don't think that software exists anymore today. And I said, okay, I'm in Dubai, I'm in United Arab Emirates. What's the domain name here? Oh, it's .e. So, okay, I have .com. Let me add .e. And I add .e. And then because there was no one offering .ae registration online, apart from the registry, which had the paperwork process, I ranked so high in Google and started getting 1 or 2 orders every week. And that was amazing pocket money. So speaking about restrictions, even back in the days, the .ae domain name was really unrestricted, which meant any person from any country could actually register a .ae domain. The only difference between now and back in the days is that back in the day, you had to have a local representative, like someone who is living in the country, to sign off that paper form. So that's where I found the market gap. I would sign that paper form being your representative. So domain name wire.de, I would represent it in Dubai. And again, fast forward 2008, there was a reform in our registry. So now it's a registrar system, and there are lots of registrars from all over the world. So the domain name is absolutely unrestricted. So it's not like .iq. I did look into IQ, yes, and it reminded me of the old good days. But yes, AE, to be precise, is the largest and the most popular domain name in the Middle East or the Arab world. So 350,000 registrations as of this month, so June 2025, making it the largest and the most widely used domain name.
Why do you think .ae has been more used than other names from the Middle East?
Well, again, if you look at the economy, at the whole business side of things revolving around the United Arab Emirates, starting from the whole construction boom back in 2000s to the tourism, to the property, which is now happening again, and business setup, being tax-free, and all these elements, right? It became an amazing place for people from all over the world to basically visit as tourists, and many established businesses. It's a truly global place, just like Singapore or Hong Kong or one of these large economies. It's home to, I think, 160 nationalities living in harmony. And the majority of the population are expats from all over the place. So basically, people come here with great ideas. They establish online. And the first thing you do when you establish online is securing the right domain name. And that's where people look locally. And of course, it's very popular. If you drive around in your car, just seeing billboards on the street, you see the .ae used almost everywhere.
So yeah, I'm curious about that. Is .ae what you see most on signage there?
I would say yes. So you obviously see generics like .com and sometimes some exotics ones as well, like the new GTLDs. You see lots of .ai. Dubai is also a big AI hub. It's interesting to note that the government of Dubai has officially acquired Dub.ai, so DUB.ai, which reads as Dubai, which also shows that they're also very open and keen to exploring and being trendy. And AI is obviously trendy nowadays, looking at the aftermarket and all the sales that are happening. You see everything. Of course, I would say that the biggest two you see is .ae and .com. So
Interesting. It's always fascinating as you travel around the world to see different countries. And obviously in the United States, you basically don't see .us, right? You mostly see .coms. You don't see the country code, whereas that's very different in other countries.
Yeah, there is also one interesting story here I forgot to mention. So another one which is very popular here, I think you'll be surprised, but it's .me domains. So .me are, of course, for Montenegro, but also me is a domain hack for Middle East. So you get one domain name which covers the whole Middle East. And if you drive around, brands like Pizza Hut, KFC, Sephora, they use .me domains, and then that's how it is.
No kidding. I want to type one.
Check it out. Yeah, KFC.me. Yeah, you'll definitely end up on the KFC Middle East website.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I went to pizzahut.me and it's like, okay, where are you located? UAE, Saudi, Bahrain, all that sort of stuff. So they're doing it for all of that. That's fascinating. Very interesting. I just got back from Spain and I was in Barcelona. And of course, there you've got .cat, which is not a country code domain. It's a sponsored top level domain, but you see a lot of that. And then .es for the country, and then also even occasional .barcelona because they have their own city top level domain. Really interesting. So Munir, you decided to start a conference, Domain Days, in your backyard. Tell me the impetus for that.
All right. So there are a few reasons to that, actually, personal and professional. So I love conferences. I've been attending events from the domain name and hosting industry since 2014. I still remember the first one was World Hosting Days, which is now known as CloudFest. And yeah, I've been a speaker at events like the ICANN events. We also have a few local events in the region, which are done by ICANN, and most of them are like policy related or, intellectual property and a domain name in general. But there hasn't been really any business events surrounding the business of domain names and hosting. The reason why I started this event is that I was attending an event of my friend at the London Domain Summit in London, the first edition back in 2023. And I was astonished by the number of people attending the event for the first time and the excitement that people have shown towards the event. And a friend of mine at that event actually challenged me and said, hey, listen, why don't you do something in your backyard in Dubai? I mean, that's your space. That's your home country. That's where you've been building for the past 2 decades. And, we shook hands. And it was more of like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'll think about it. But then fast forward a few months, he calls me and he's like, hey, what's up? So are you doing the event or no? Because first of all, I want to sponsor. Second of all, I think it's a good idea. And then here we started. So that was like January of 2023. So, okay, the event in London was in 2022, not in 2023. Yeah. So the first edition we did in Dubai was 2023. And I started planning. Yes, I've been to events, I've attended events, I've spoken at events, but I had no clue how to organize events and what goes into the whole planning process. Leave alone that I have a business to run, which is growing at a crazy scale for the past 3 years and occupying most of my time. So yeah, I started looking around. I started basically exploring the whole space and what's happening and trying to make sure I find the exact timing so I don't clash with any other events. And I think I've identified a good time spot, like in Q4 of the year, when there is not much happening and pretty much the weather is good in Dubai, because don't forget, we have to consider as well the summer heat and the seasonality. So these were really the reasons. If I speak about the business reasons, the landscape has changed a lot in the past few years. Back in the days, there were no hosting providers or domain name registrars locally. There have been a few startups like ours, but there hasn't been any big companies, and Dubai wasn't really placed on the map of global events related to this field. But then in the past few years, there are lots of big brands that are actively playing in this market. Also big brands present here. Some of them have even offices, team members, staff on the ground. And they are operating towards the larger Middle East, Africa region. And then I thought to myself, okay, this is the right time. Someone has to do an event here to bring the people together. There's also factors where people from this part of the region sometimes cannot attend events in Europe or in the US for like visa restrictions and travel costs and differences in the whole culture. For instance, sometimes the events are held during the months of fasting, so people usually don't travel during that month. So, we had to take into account all these things. And I believe it made a total sense to do it in Dubai. Dubai is the number one connected destination in the world, with the local airline traveling to 150 plus destinations. You've got direct flights from Dubai to Seattle, to Vancouver, to Hanoi, to New Zealand, to Australia. It's in the crossroads of the world. It's super easy to access. Everyone is talking about Dubai. It's all over the social media, right? You see it's Facebook, YouTube, all the Hollywood stars. So, it's
Quite a few domain investors live there now too.
and absolutely, that was my next point. So you had the big migration of domain investors who've been actually, it's so funny. I mean, they've been the first supporters. I mean, every time we launch the early bird sales, and I see the same names always signing up during literally the first hours of the early sale of tickets, which is great. I meet with them and they're like, yes, this is amazing. We've been waiting for this event. In our region is the right time. And we've got a few like NIJU registry operators also based in Dubai, like Radix and a few more. So they were all excited and happy, saying, yeah, I mean, it's about time for us to also host friends and guests in Dubai and show them around. So I think everything aligned very well. And again, this was all improvised. I've never known this until I actually started talking to people. The more I spoke to people, the more connections I realized, and I was more and more confident that was the right decision. And yeah, fast forward, it's our third edition in 4 months from now.
Yeah. So 2023 was the first edition. 2024. Talk to me about the difference between 23 and 24. Because obviously, first time you're doing something, people are like, what is this? That sort of thing. Who's behind it? There's no credibility. Talk to me about the difference there between your first event and second event.
Sure. The first one was obviously tough. I've spoken to so many people and, I've been going to all the events and basically with one objective, right? To meet as many people as possible, to spread the word. I printed business cards. I had one pager about the event and I would go around and show people. I mean, I know a lot of people in the industry and lots of people know me. They've met me from time to time and they knew that, Munir is that person in Dubai building the domain registrar and a hosting company. When it came to events, it's okay, this is something new for Munir. So not many people had trust initially. And I had a few verbal confirmations from a few partners like, yeah, if you do something, we'll end up sponsoring. Or someone said, yeah, we will definitely sponsor you. And with some people, we just shook hands and nothing happened. And then when it came to business, right, when I told people, okay, look, I've booked the venue, I've did the prepayment, now we are building. So, hey, are you still up to sponsoring? And, a lot of these people disappeared. Some of them who actually didn't. Yeah, so those who promised me actually disappeared. Some of them who said, I don't promise you anything, they actually ended up being sponsors. And then, here and there, after gathering, I would say the first few large names, like the few big names who came initially, I believe there was like a fear of missing out, like a FOMO moment where everyone started saying, oh, wow, there is something really happening there and this is serious. And then people started seeing banner ads online, like on the different websites like DN Journal and others, and then lots of people from the industry talking about it and lots of press releases. So people started getting curious. And then, with the sponsors, right? When sponsors came on board, they also started advertising this to their circle. And I think all this came into a very nice equation, which worked out really well. And I would say I started seeing really great demand before the summer started. I was very confident that we will break even in terms of the costs and tickets. And then, I don't know, people would just sign up every single day. I would receive an email, new tickets sold. And then we even had sponsors signing up last minute, like a week before the event. And I told them, listen, we cannot really have anything printed anymore because everything is already ordered. And look, you need to understand, in something maybe about my personality, if I take up on a task or if I do something, I am a perfectionist. I have to do it. With the event, you have one chance to impress people. You are inviting people to a completely new territory, showing them a new event. And there is only one chance to basically impress people. If you don't, the event will fail and nobody will come for the second year. So I had a setup where I literally reinvested every single dollar from sponsorships and tickets back into the event. So initially, let's say there was a joke. We had a VIP after party on a boat, on a yacht. It was like for 50 people. And then I realized, okay, we have more than 50 VIP tickets sold. So we need a bigger boat. We started basically upgrading and improving. And Dubai is luxury on its own. The level of hospitality here is super high in terms of food and catering and overall choice of hotel. I could choose a business hotel next to the airport, but I knew if people are coming to Dubai for the first time, it will be a disgrace to have them at some hotel next to the airport. I need to show them the best of Dubai. So I've basically taken up one of the best venues. It's called the Palm Island. It's like an artificial man-made.
Yeah, I think when people think of Dubai, if they've seen anything, that's like what they've seen, right?
Exactly. It's always, you can see this place literally from space, right? From the International Space Station. So it's like coupled with very nice branding and packaging and logo and website and everything. So we try to keep up with the brand guidelines and have a very coherent structure. So everything really looks simple. At the same time, all the information was available. I mean, look, you're attending an event. You want to have all the information available. You go on our website, you have everything from ticketing to hotel, a special hotel room block with the rates. Everything is explained, the terms and conditions, the deadlines, the dates, a mobile app, networking. Some events don't even have an attendee list. Okay, you don't want to share emails, but at least share me names. I want to know who I'll be meeting. So things like that. And of course, social media. I would say social media, and specifically LinkedIn. Even though I never liked LinkedIn personally, for me, LinkedIn was okay. It's for job seekers. LinkedIn played the biggest and the most crucial role in building this. I kept on posting, and I have a great designer who works for me for the main company, and he's been doing all these great graphics, and I've been just posting from my personal profile, tagging. People started commenting, and I think what I'm trying to tell you here is that I've started using LinkedIn as if this is Instagram or Twitter, X, because these platforms or the algorithms, they like when you post frequently, consistently, and unique content. And that's exactly what I think was missing on LinkedIn from the whole event perspective, especially from this part of the region. So I think the content picked up very well. Yeah, I would like literally announce, hey, today is like the last day of our early bird. I would close my browser, go like to the gym, open my email a few hours later, and boom, we have 5 new signups. And that's exactly how it worked. Yeah.
So the 2024 event then was like right before ICANN in Istanbul. And I was in Istanbul. I didn't make it to your event, but I heard a lot of people at that event saying how well run it was, how great of a conference it was. But talk to me about, was that kind of an inflection point for the conference, not only being the second year, but being right around another conference in the area?
Yes. So this is also, again, I didn't realize this until the first event was over. So the first event was done after the ICANN meeting in Hamburg, which I also attended. And people said, are you crazy? What are you doing in Hamburg? I mean, you should be in Dubai because your event is like literally a week away. And then to my surprise, we had at least 40 people who flew in from Hamburg and attended. And I realized, wow, okay, people prefer to bundle up events to basically, get done with 2 events if they're back to back. And then,
especially if they're traveling really far. Right?
Exactly. I mean, if you're traveling from the States or from Canada, you don't want to be on a plane again, like in a week or in a month, pretty much flying another like 8 or 10 hour flight. So people are already active. They are in networking mode. And I think I kind of like leveraged that position. So then when I looked at 2024, when I look at the calendar, I realized, okay, there is the meeting in Turkey. And Turkey, okay, I mean, again, back to the point about the connectivity, Dubai is super well connected. You have like literally a flight to Istanbul, I think every 2 hours, like there's 3 or 4 airlines flying to Istanbul, and the flights are pretty cheap. And both airports are hubs. Dubai is a hub, Istanbul is a hub. So it's easy for people to get in and out and continue their onward journey. So I again realized that, okay, this is super important to basically have a minimal gap between the 2 events, out of respect to attendees, to their time and money, that they can basically hit 2 stones with 2 stones, 2 birds with 1 stone. And then again, I've never known that ICANN is planning an event in this region, because the last time ICANN came to this region was in 2016 in Abu Dhabi, in the capital of the UAE. And then when I realized, wow, they are doing the ICANN AGM, the AGM being the largest meeting of the 3 meetings that ICANN hosts in a year. And it's in Oman and Muscat. And Oman, Muscat, it's literally 4.5 hours if you drive. It's a nice scenic route through the mountains, or a 50 minutes flight, which costs like, I don't know, $100 one way. So it makes absolute total sense because people are already in the region. And then again, answering your question, there was never a plan to tag along any other event, but I think it was just a very natural fit. And everyone was happy because people are already on the road and they end up doing the 2 events. And the timing, if you look at the timing, then it's November, end of November, and then you've got like December, the holidays, and then it's the end of the year.
So we talked about there are a bunch of expats that live in Dubai now that are domain investors. And we talked about how they show up, and then you have a lot of people coming internationally. Are there a lot of people from the UAE as well?
Yeah, correct. A lot of people are from the UAE and from the region. So when we end the event, we run some statistics and data to analyze where the people coming from. So we had a huge presence from North Africa, like from Morocco. To my surprise, I never knew there is such a huge domain and hosting community.
That is interesting.
Yeah, apparently there is also one of the first and largest ICANN accredited registrars in Morocco. I happen to know the gentleman. His name is Hamza. I met him like many, many years ago at one of the events, and he runs this registrar in Morocco. And then apparently there is one in Algeria, in Tunisia. And for them, it was also great to visit Dubai and to network. And we had people from Egypt, we had people from India, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from China, from Malaysia. So yeah, it was really, again, being in the center of the world, the connectivity, this just helps. This is a dream come true. So we also have like local people from the GCC. So Saudi Arabia, we have like big providers in Saudi Arabia, cloud hosting providers. We had the registry operator from Bahrain for .bh. Obviously, we had the .ae registry, who was our guest of honor for 2 years in a row, representing the .ae domain name. We had people from, I believe, from Kuwait as well. So yeah, we had pretty much at least one or two companies represented from each of the neighboring countries, and then from the greater extended region. And of course, last year we did a slight change. So we went from domain days, MENA being Middle East, North Africa, we went to MEA, Middle East Africa, because we had attendees from South Africa as well and from all over Africa. We had a nice session, like Dubai, the gateway to Africa. Dubai essentially has always been a central trading hub, like import-export transit hub for goods, physical goods, and gold, diamond, jewelry, and now digital. So it made just perfect sense for everything to be done in Dubai. Yeah, people are happy to be here because it makes total sense for them to come here and then even stay for a holiday. We had lots of attendees coming in with their families, kids. I think it was like European school holidays during that time as well. So people would use another like few days just to enjoy with their family before going back home.
So this year's event is right before the ICANN Oman, as you mentioned. It sounds like you have a successful formula. Are you trying anything different this year? Anything attendees should be aware of?
It's a constant fight within me to continue improving and doing it better. The truth is, I believe I did find a winning formula during the first edition. And no matter how much I try to deviate from it and change and try to bring something new, I end up going back to the same formula. For instance, our VIP networking event, we've done the first year and the second year on a boat, on a yacht, which is huge. It can fit like 300 people. It's a floating palace, essentially, 4 hours of unlimited F&B, open bar, stunning views, like music, DJ. And then, there is lots of other ways you can impress attendees with it. And I've been looking around, but then again, it comes to the part being taking care of your guests, showing the hospitality. And I don't want guests to be shuffled around town, driving in buses for an hour to some remote destination. So I'm not saying this is like the 100% ideal formula, but what we've done so far, it does work. The feedback is great. And even though as much as I want to change something, I still believe this is like the good part that we have. And yes, there are a few things I'm trying to change, of course, to improve the overall structure, have more space at the venue, logistics, F&B, all these things. And we are indeed looking for an alternative venue for the VIP after party. And the VIP after party, I keep talking about it, but it's like the grand finale of our event after 2 intensive days. I mean, look, most people stay at the venue hotel because we have amazing rates. At the venue hotel, it's a stunning beach resort. So if you want to use the beach, you want to use the pool, be at a rooftop bar, go to a nightclub, everything is available. And then it's located on a beautiful location, the Palm Island. There is like a huge, long boardwalk, and you can walk into 2 directions, left or right, lots of hotels, restaurants, and places. But then at the same time, you are at the same hotel, you meet the same people, breakfast, lunch, 2 coffee breaks, dinner, and then VIP, and then the VIP after party. So after 2 days of intense networking, you really want to take people somewhere where they disconnect, relax, and just reinforce the relationships, because it's all about the networking. Being on a boat for 4 hours in the middle of the sea, there is no way to escape. So you have no reason not to go up to that person that you were not able to talk to.
And you got to be on time too. You can't be late.
Yeah. We had some people who came to the boat last year with their bags, with luggage, because they literally went to the airport after the boat. They were literally floating with their bags. That was fun.
Let's talk some details here because you keep mentioning the VIP party and it's like, oh, how do I be a VIP? This is just a separate ticket type, right?
Yeah, so we do like two tickets. We have the standard and the VIP ticket. The difference is, yes, the access to the VIP after party, because let's be honest, not everyone wants to be part of that. Some people just say, okay, I'm okay just being at the formal part during the day. At night, I have other commitments, family, friends, whatever, right? So yeah, two type of tickets. Essentially, they all have the same benefits apart from just the VIP after party and access to the VIP networking lounge. So we have a VIP on the area. It's a quiet zone where, you can go and have a meeting. And it's built in a traditional Arabic way, like the setup. It's called majlis. So majlis is like a traditional Arabic seating setup where all the furniture, like the sofas, are placed along the perimeter of the walls. And basically the area in the middle is hollow. So everyone is sitting on the perimeter, and then, you walk around, and then basically you speak to the person to the right or to the left of you, and then you can change your seat and basically go sit to the other person. And then again, you have someone on your right and someone on the left. We've got like Arabic coffee, tea, dates from the region, just adding a little bit of the Arabic hospitality touch to the event.
Great. All right. We should first of all mention the event is October 22nd and 23rd this year.
Yes.
Back at the same venue, the Marriott Resort on the Palm. Do they call it the Palm Island locally?
It's just called like the Palm. So we have 3 Palm Islands. Only one of them is finished and built. This is the one. It's called Palm Jumeirah. But yeah, if you say the Palm, everyone refers to this Palm. It's called, it's the Marriott, the Palm Jumeirah. Jumeirah is the name of the area. Mm-hmm.
And for those listening to the show, the day it comes out here on the 30th, you've got until, I guess, this evening to get the early bird rate, which is what, $199.50 for the standard and $299.50 for the VIP. And then after this, I assume there will be slightly higher, but still discounted tickets available?
Yes, that's true. We usually run the early bird for a month. We actually launched the early bird early on this year. It was in May. However, we had so many people contacting us and saying they couldn't book on time for whatever the reason. So we extended until June. So yes, 30th of June, end of day, Dubai time. That's +4.
Okay, so hopefully you're listening to this in the morning because it's later in Dubai. So.
Yeah, let's make a special deal for the listeners. If somebody ends up missing it for the time reason, for the time zone reason, just drop us an email and we will sort it out. So that's not an issue.
Honor that price.
Yeah, we'll honor the price. So yeah, then we will have another price. So yeah, the price goes up. It will be slightly higher. And then after 1 month, it will be the standard full price. So yeah, now is the best time to join. And trust me, you will get so much more in return on this investment.
Great. Munir, it's been fantastic having you on the show. I've enjoyed learning a little bit, having never been to Dubai, about what kind of the domain ecosystem is like there, as well as the conference, which I've heard so many good things about. So thanks so much for coming on the show. Yeah,
thank you so much for having me. And hopefully you can also make it this year. There is plenty of time and, lots of people in town. So yeah, think about it.
Awesome. My guest this week has been Munir Badr. He is the founder of Domain Days Conference in Dubai. That's a wrap on this week's Domain Name Wire podcast. You can listen to all previous episodes at dnw.com/podcast or on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening.